Victoria Leonard with the key unlocked. With the key unlocked, Victoria Leonard.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most honored guests, what is the value of a gift? Maybe you got a gift and you said to yourself, well, it's the thought that counts. Or maybe you said, it's the best gift ever. And it was, for a week. But maybe you got a gift and you didn't know what you had gotten. Its value was not clear to you for a long time. I'd like to tell you a story of such a gift and what it turned out to be worth. It was the last day of kindergarten. Miss Walker, our teacher, had lined us all up in the front of the room. She had a plate of keys. To each key, she had tied, with a bit of ribbon, a safety pin. And she went down the line, and to each of our shirts, she tied one of these keys. Afterwards, she said to us, this is your key to knowledge. Any questions you have the right to answers. Any answers you get, you have the right to question. Anything you want to know, you have the right to learn. And no one can take these rights away from you. Well, this was heady stuff. At the age of 5, I didn't have the right to do much of anything. I was completely sold. I determined to learn everything there is to know. At the age of 6, I undertook to read every book in the public library. I read, I studied, I learned. I listened to people, but sometimes they would say to me, oh, girls don't need to know that. That's just for boys. But I knew they were talking about other girls because I had a key. And I would say to them, but I'm going to college, I need to know everything. And they would say to me, you're not going to college. You'll be an unwed mother on welfare, like your mother. That's all you'll be. Well, they only said that because they didn't know about the key. But the truth is that I was growing up in an environment of violence and poverty. And as I came into adolescence, it wasn't getting any better. I didn't have the money to pursue a higher education. My skills, not marketable. Some of my peers were already dying on the streets, and it looked as though that might be my fate as well. But if that is what the future held for me, I would at least choose a place where I had never been, somewhere romantic and exotic. And I chose San Francisco as the place where I would make my final stand. I plucked down the last of my cash for a Greyhound ticket, packed a few things, some clothes, photographs, 2 cheese sandwiches, and a key. I arrived at the old Greyhound depot on 6th Street on a cold, gray, drizzly morning. It was summer. Walked out into my new home, the streets of the Tenderloin. I signed up with the temp agencies, and soon I was getting the longer and better assignments, and I slowly started to establish myself. But everywhere I went, I was only a paper pusher. I knew nothing about technology, machines, tools. And so I called up Xerox and they said, I want to be a technician. What do I have to do? They said to me, we're hiring. Can you come down in 3 days and test? I said, test? Sure. I don't remember much of the next 3 days. There was a lot of reading, a lot of coffee drinking. Apparently I called my best friend and said things she didn't understand. But afterwards, I went to Xerox, and I got the job. Now, Xerox was very committed to education. They would reimburse you for the courses that you took and help you get your degree through what is now Excelsior College. By the time I left, 9 years later, I had a Bachelor of Science. I had some marketable skills. but I was looking for the next horizon. The World Wide Web, then in its infancy. I read the very first book on HTML published in the United States. And I made websites when the only ones who had websites were major corporations and 12-year-old boys. And one day I found myself teaching web programming at the Academy of Art. Now, there I found that I was still learning, but now I was doing it with a group of people who cared about web programming and wanted to hear me talk about it. I was also getting paid for it. All right, not enough to make the rent, but that was a minor quibble. I had found my calling. Now, the man who was my boss at the academy is a man I came to regard as a very good friend. And the day that he died, it just wasn't the same anymore, and I moved on. Now, I'm a corporate trainer, which does pay the rent. But more importantly, it gives me a chance to share that most fine and precious gift that Miss Walker gave to me all those years ago when she pinned this very key to my shirt. What is the value of a gift? That gives you the right to believe in yourself. A gift that takes you where you have never been and helps you become someone that few thought you could be. And how easy it can be to give such a gift. A simple thing that becomes the key that unlocks a life. Mr. Toastmaster.